Gentlemen, we're going to take her from I prefer my pets to be mine. Step into my office. Welcome back to My Man Cooks. If you have a special someone that you really care about and you're nervous about making them something for Valentine's Day, don't worry, we've got you covered. So today we're going to be doing cake pops. So here's our list of ingredients. Let me take you through it. What we have is, we have 1 cup of sifted all-purpose flour. We have half a teaspoon and half a teaspoon of baking soda and baking powder. We have 1/8 teaspoon of salt. We got a 1/4 cup of butter at room temp. We have half a cup of granulated sugar. We got 1 whole egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a half cup of milk, whole milk. Now, we're gonna mix this together in our mixer. If you don't have a mixer, you don't get worried just yet. We're gonna put it in a cake pan. That's how cake pops start, blew my mind too. But if you don't have a mixer, you can do it all by hand in a bowl with a whisk. So after we've gotten all of our ingredients together, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our flour, baking powder, baking soda, and our salt, and we're going to mix it in a bowl. Once we have this thoroughly mixed, we're going to move on to our mixer. Don't be intimidated because there's a mixer. This is simple ingredients. Okay? People in the Civil War made cakes. We're just turning them into little lollipops. So all of our dry ingredients, minus the sugar, have been fully mixed together. Set this aside. We're going to the mixer. Next step is going to involve the whole milk, the butter, and the sugar. I'm going to use the mixer for this. You can do it by hand, or if you have a hand mixer, you can do that. You can do that too. So I'm going to add the milk, the whole milk. If you don't have whole milk and you have cream, fine. Then we're going to try to get all of our butter out of here. One of these little cute spatulas, perfect. If you don't have one, get one. And our oven has preheated to 375 degrees. That's a good point that I forgot to bring up. So preheat your oven, please. In goes our sugar. And now, bring this down. And we're gonna mix this for about 2 to 3 minutes, all right? What you got? At this point, we've been mixing for a little bit. Make sure you get a 1/3 cup measuring cup. We're at the point now we've been mixing this for a little bit. This is what we're looking like if you want to get down in there. We are now going to add our egg and our vanilla, and we're going to continue to mix until everything is mixed thoroughly. So now our mixer is going. We're going to add our flour, our dry ingredients, which is the baking powder, baking soda, and the salt, along with the flour. We're going to add a little bit at a time. So, as it's mixing, this cute little spatula thing we got going on here, you're going to need to scrape the sides of your bowl to make sure all your ingredients get in there. and then turn your mixer back on. Alrighty, so our batter's been going for a little while. Come take a look. This is what it should look like. Okay, hopefully you've kept your little spatula guy, because we're going to use that to get our batter into our cake pan. Typically I would put this in a 6-inch, but I don't have a 6-inch, I have an 8-inch. I think it'll work out just fine. So we're going to open this up, get some of our goopy goops, and if you're doing this by yourself, you get to lick the spatula in the bowl when it's done. So this is where we're at with our cake batter in our 8-inch pan. If you have a 6-inch one, better. Now, this does not need to look perfect because we're about to just crumble it up after it's done baking, but we do want it to be relatively flat. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of pounding it on something soft as opposed to the marble counter. So when we do that, it helps level it out, so you don't need to be an artist with your skills. Now we go into the oven, 375 degrees. We're going to have to keep an eye on this because it's very thin due to the 8-inch pan. If you have a 6-inch pan, also kind of keep an eye on it. But if you can put a toothpick in the center of it and it comes out clean, you're probably good. Pro tip, we're going to be using this stuff for the icing and the frosting. Wash it and dry it thoroughly. So this has been in the oven at 375 for about 20 minutes. Remember, we have the 8-inch pan as opposed to the 6-inch pan, but the toothpick comes out clean. And another thing to notice is that it came away from the sides of the pan. That is a key indicator that your cake is done. We're going to let it sit in the pan for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to move it from the pan to a cooling rack. So our cake is cooling. Now it's time to get after the frosting. So what we want to do is, in our large bowl, our mixing bowl here, we're going to use our cute little spatula again. We're going to get all the butter out that is at room temperature, unsalted. We're going to get that in there, and we are going to beat the butter again. You can do this, you can accomplish this with a hand whisk. Again, reserve your spatula because you might need it. So we have beaten our half cup of butter. It should look like this. Now, what we are going to add to this butter is 2/3 of a cup of icing sugar, 1 teaspoon of whole milk, and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And we are going to add that to our butter until it's completely mixed together, until it's smooth, and we'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. So this is what it should look like, okay? Now, this is not going on top of our cake. Remember, we're breaking our cake up into pieces. This is going to be the glue that holds all of our cake pieces together so that we can actually form it into cake pops. All right, so we'll meet you back when we start mixing everything together. I'm sorry. That cake that we worked hard on, we're just gonna break it into, oh man, this is actually a really good cake. It's very moist. What we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna blitz this to get it to very small pieces so that it can be mixed with the frosting that we made for a mortar. So I'm just going to pulse this. It shouldn't take many at all. This is where we're at after 30, not even 15 seconds of going through, and we have our cake crumb. So you can do this by hand. It's just faster for me to do it in the processor. Now we're going to add it to our frosting. All right, so we are going to add this to our frosting mix. I know it seems a shame, but now we beat this for a couple of minutes until it's smooth. Now comes the fun part and the messy part. That's what it looks like. Everything's bound together. So what we're gonna do, tablespoon at a time, will be about cake pop size. You take them out and you roll them into balls. And if you're artistic and you're able to, you can make hearts or whatever shape you want with them, as long as it sticks together with all your binding agent. And these don't have to just be for Valentine's Day. You can do them at Christmas, decorate them with Christmas sprinkles. You can do them for birthdays. You can do them for just about any occasion. Who doesn't love a friggin' cake pop? All right, let's get started on rolling these into a ball. So, tablespoon it up. Kind of gently form it a little bit, and then we roll it. Sometimes it'll come together, just kind of give it a little squeeze. Get it back to where you want it. That's a rough cake pop ball, but we're going to put some frosting and stuff on it, so it's not going to look so ugly. Place them on a parchment lined baking sheet, and when you get through everything, put it in the fridge to cool off. And they're going to sit in the fridge for about 1 hour. So we have assembled our cake balls. They're getting ready to come out of the refrigerator. So what we have here is I have 2 double boilers set up. Now, contrary to the name, you do not boil the water. You barely even simmer the water. So put the heat on low. You're going to have to stir this stuff constantly, so make sure you have 2 little spatulas or 1 bigger spatula. You're going to need about 10 ounces of chocolate. We've opted for milk chocolate and white chocolate, so we can do cool nifty things with some designs or whatever, or half of them can be chocolate, half of them can be white chocolate. And then we have our sprinkle station all set up. So Valentine's Day sprinkles, we got hearts, we got pearls, we got pink and white fleck thingies, and then we got the pink stuff right there. So they're going to be pretty, they're going to be enjoyable, and let's start getting these put together. So we have our little cake pop holding devices if you don't want to opt for a cake pop holder. Okay? These, just try to imagine cake pops on there and trying to explain it to you guys so you can do something similar if you want. I did 3 little slits in the top of these little cups. They're going to be upside down, and that's going to hold the cake pops. Now, if you want, if these are for children or something like that, cut a little slit in a cupcake holder. And now, minimizes the mess, kind of contains it all in there. So, we'll do that. We may use these, we may not, because ours are for adults, but it's an option for kids. Now, to heat up your chocolate, do you have to use this method? No. You can go in the microwave with it. 10-second bursts, and you're only going to end up doing like 1 cup of chocolate at a time. 10-second bursts, stirring after each burst until fully melted. You do not want your chocolate to get above 90 degrees, so you got to be real careful with it. You can also do it in the slow cooker if you want. Okay, now the steam has started underneath, and you can see that our chocolate is melting. Now, this is a slow process. You don't want to rush this at all. Just be gentle, constantly stir it around so it melts, and we don't want it to burn or get too hot, because then you're going to run into problems with it, and it's going to get all sticky and blotchy and everything like that. So just keep stirring it and let it happen slowly. So what I have here is I have 1/8 of a teaspoon of coconut oil, and I'm just going to put that in our chocolate Some of it goes over here, that's fine. But what that's going to do is when you mix it in with your chocolate, it's going to help it harden and basically create a shell around your cake pop. So make sure you mix it in real good. And we are almost there with our milk chocolate. Alrighty, so here's our naked cake pops. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our, I have popsicle sticks. You can use cake pop sticks. I'm going to put a little bit of our milk chocolate on there. Now this is going to help the cake pop stick on there. A little bit will get in your hand, that's fine. But there's our cake pop. Use my towel to clean that off. Now, we go like this, and we drizzle it over. You know what? That's too dang hard. Let me use this. Oh, there we go. I'll just rotate it in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look how much better that is. Awesome. Let it drip off a little bit. Keep rotating it. Oh, that works so good. Dude. I'll bet if tool companies started making kitchen utensils, guys would get involved a heck of a lot more. Alrighty. Now that we used our tool, let's do some white sprinkles on this one. So we got some white sprinkles. Oh, happy Valentine's Day. And we're gonna lose a couple. Oh, it's starting to get a hard shell on it. Awesome. And then we put it in our stand. Bro, we just made cake pops. Look at that. All right, let's get some other ones put together. Yes. Oh, he dribbled. Oh, it's all over my finger. So, when you dip these into the chocolate, some people do the method where you put it in a cup and you dunk the whole thing in the cup, but make sure you get the chocolate on the stick first. Get the chocolate on the stick, whether it's a cake pop stick or a popsicle stick or whatever, but get the chocolate on the stick first, let that get cool, air cool. Then you can put your cake pop on there. But once you get the chocolate on it, you want to roll it. Roll it a little bit, let the excess drip off. Don't just try to, you're going to end up with a mess if you try to move it over and you got globs of chocolate falling everywhere and you got sprinkles that aren't sticking to stuff if you do sprinkles. So just slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Keep it relaxed, dunk it, rotate it, let the chocolate drip off. If you're feeling a bit extra, throw some red food coloring in there. Keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring. And now you've got pink chocolate. So we have our chocolate that we put on the end of our popsicle stick, or our cake pop stick, newly purposed. We take our cake pop fresh out of the refrigerator. We pop it on there. Now, here's how I've been doing it besides DeWalt. We'll just go like this, like this, like this. Now, there's going to be a little bit of excess that wants to come off. That's fine. Let it come off. So once you get a little knob where some is, pat it. It'll help it drain. Then rotate it. And just keep rotating it until it cools off. If you want to blow on it, blow on it. So we get the gooey coming off just like that. And once it starts to look like it's drying a little bit and all the excess is coming off, you'll see it kind of change from this sheen to kind of almost like a lackluster kind of shell. And that's what you want. But in between that stage and the stage we're at now is where we want to be, so we can add sprinkles and stuff like that to it. So we'll let some more excess come off, because the more coated they are, the longer it's going to take for them to cool down and things like that. So we'll just go like that on that side. I want some of these bad boys go like that. Stay. Happy little mess. So, could you have just bought some cake pops? Yes, but this is about a quarter of the price, and the simple fact that you did it, that's what Valentine's Day is for. You don't have to go buy something and make it all expensive and everything like that. It's the thought that counts. And some of these don't look as good as others, but that's okay, because of the effort and the thought that went into it. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming into my kitchen, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy Valentine's Day.